That's right. White lives matter. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how bad your week has been, I guarantee you, Alex Jones' week has been worse.
A Connecticut jury has penalized Alex Jones for the cruelty he inflicted to the tune of $965 million.
80 million, 100 million, blah, blah. You get $1 million, you get 100 million, you get 50 million.
I'll definitely take one. I'd say Alex Jones really shot himself in the foot, but he'd probably just deny the shooting ever happened, okay? You got Trump, you got Kanye, and others have also been debunked, deplatformed, and defunded due to their social media rhetoric, which leads me to ask the panel, Tezlyn, we're gonna start with you. Everyone is free to say what they want, but we know freedom of speech comes with a cost. And does the Jones verdict set a dangerous precedent for what can be said?
I'm a veteran, so I definitely believe in freedom of speech. I'm not a big fan of cancel culture, but I also believe that every action has a reaction. So when you put an action out there that can cause possibly emotional distress, like what happened this week with Kanye and causing emotional distress to Gianni, who was actually George Floyd's daughter, when you have that, there is going to be a reaction and a consequence, for your words. So if you put it out there, you got to be able to back it up. One, back it up with the truth.
That's right.
If you can't back it up with the truth, then you have to pay out of pocket and walk it like you talk it.
What do you think, Michael?
Well, I was incarcerated because I refused to waive my First Amendment constitutional right when they remanded me back to Otisville. So I have a real problem with the entire thing. First of all, I think Alex Jones is a horrible human being. Donald Trump is a horrible human being. Kanye is just, I'm not even sure where he is anymore because he's just saying stuff simply for reaction.
That's right.
And it is dangerous. What they're doing is dangerous. But this sets a very interesting precedent because it's kind of like what's going on in the UK, where if you defame someone, the plaintiff, if he wins, the defendant pays the legal fees. But if the defendant wins, then the plaintiff has to pay the legal fees. So it's a good idea so that you don't have all of this nonsensical litigation that's going on there. But words do matter.
Jim, you're a comedian.
Alex Jones is different because he defamed somebody. So that's always been on the table. I don't believe in canceling people or blaming people because other people are stupid and they react. Andrew Tate, everybody's so angry at Andrew Tate. Why? I mean, you're a dope if you listen to a guy who consistently, I'm a success coach. If you go to a guy and go, you're a success coach, I'm gonna listen to you, you're stupid. Incels, do what I do. Look in the mirror and realize your life is gonna be filled with masturbation. I had to accept that, you have to accept that. But I don't like seeing people silenced. Make people use their real names on Twitter.
Yes.
Then 98% of all that crap will go away.
Right. I think that people forget just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean that you're free of the consequences of that speech. Right?
Agreed.
Sometimes if you defame somebody or lie on somebody, you might get sued. But you also might get punched in the mouth.
That's
you know what I mean?
right.
For
It's
saying
always
the
on
wrong
the
thing.
table.
That's right.
That's right.
What's the remedy, though, Michael, for someone who just goes on social media and lies? Because people fact-checked your old boss, Donald Trump, all the time, and it never made a difference.
Not for him. Again, he has a core group of people that do not care. When he said that he could walk down Fifth Avenue and kill someone, he wasn't joking. And that's the thing. So what ends up happening? He gets thrown off of Twitter and other forms of social media, what they just did to Ye, the same exact thing. Is that enough? I don't think so.
Yeah. You know what gets me though, Mike? It's like, yo, man, you rode with Trump for so long, but then now that you're not in the circle no more, you got so much negative things to say about him.
Remember, when I rolled with him, I was working at the Trump Organization. It's a mom and pop real estate company. None of this mattered. So we had arguments and litigation against contractors. All of a sudden, the American people care about the contractor that Trump had a fight with. This is all new. Donald Trump became the worst version of himself when he sat behind the Lincoln desk in the Oval Office. That power went to his head because he doesn't want to be the president of the United States. He wants to be the dictator, the monarch, the autocrat. That's what he wants to be, and that's what we have to stop.
So you telling me at one point he was a good person?
Like I said in my very first book, he does things that are kind, but he's not a kind man. He does things that are generous, but he's not a generous man. There were times that we had great times together when we went to Miss Universe, when we would, travel to look at real estate deals inside and outside of the country. So no, every single second of every single day was not filled with what we're living with right now, which is chaos.
It's hard to have a bad time at Miss Universe.
I agree.
Well, I think Donald Trump was full of shit and always has been full of shit, and nothing's changed. He will continue to be full of shit, in my opinion.
Then again, aren't we? I think most people are full of shit. Like we're all kind of liars on one. How many men here have ever cheated? Exactly. I mean, we're
Wait,
all
Black men don't cheat.
whoa. Black men don't cheat, Jim. What are you talking about? Okay? Now, the family of George Floyd is launching a $250 million defamation suit against Kanye. And it's one thing to take away someone's social media, it's another thing to take away their money. Okay, will more defamation lawsuits become the thing that regulates slander?
Absolutely. But by the way, it's always been that way, right? Defamation, slander, or libel, written or spoken. We're going to see more of this litigation because now with the Alex Jones case, there's a very significant precedent that exists, and people will use it.
But hold on, let me chime in on that because this was not just about slander. As you know, I work with the George Floyd family. This was emotional distress. You can't slander George Floyd because he's passed away. This was emotional distress caused to Gianni, that little girl that has to relive that trauma over and over and over. And so if Kanye is concerned about children, like he says his children, he's concerned about his child and the emotional distress that his child has to go through with TikTok, then he should damn well be concerned about the emotional distress that is caused upon Gianni, that little girl that was told this week through that trash documentary with Candace Owens saying that he died of fentanyl when it has been proven in the court of law that he was murdered in front of us all. And so for her to be able to do a documentary that was all based upon trying to get back at Meaty Petey. Yes, I gave him a new name, Meaty Petey.
Meaty Petey?
Meaty Petey is the guy that took Kim away from Kanye. I call him Meaty Petey because they said that because they said he working with something, so I gave him a new name. That's a new name, Meaty Petey. I've been waiting to get that off, by the way. They said he was working with something, so that's how he got Kim.
Yeah.
So that's what this was about. This wasn't about, finding the truth. This wasn't about finding the truth. And to do that to this family, just for the sake of your own personal issues, Candace Owens, and I'm going to say this, and she can send a cease and desist all she wants to. She intentionally used Kanye to boost that documentary. Period. End of discussion. He needed somebody to go against Kim. She put out the videos all summer long about Kim Kardashian to go after Kim for Ray J and Kanye, and that was what was the quid pro quo, Trump style, to support that documentary. It's a damn shame, and it's wrong. And for her to do an entire movie that really talks about white tears, some of them, and again, I encourage people to watch it to see. The entire documentary was about how white people were affected with the protests. They literally had one part and they said, oh my God, they made a piñata about you getting beat. Oh my God, how could that happen? The nerve of you to put their pain of a damn piñata being beat over George Floyd getting murdered in the streets.
That's right.
She should be sued, and anybody that rock with her should be sued, and she deserves to get what we call in the hood a fade.
Okay.
A DP.
That's one way to look at it. All right.
What is a fade?
It's commonly called a
Get
fade,
your ass kicked.
a DP,
Oh, thank you.
get
Okay.
your ass whooped.
I think it's time to start regulating the internet. All right, the same way we do TV and radio. You can't just be out here spewing hate, lies, and bigotry without fear of any consequences, okay? Do I give my standards and practices team multiple heart palpitations for the shit that I want to say on air? Yes, all right? But they also keep me from being sued and deplatformed. Plus, I always remind them that it could be worse. They could be working for Kanye or Trump. I kid, Michael, I kid. All right.